Hello there. Welcome to Breakfast All Day. How's it going? I'm Christy. We have Alonso. We have Matt. We are all here to talk about the Netflix documentary Pray Away, which Ryan Murphy produced and Alonso will tell you about.
Yeah, so this is the third of the documentaries that have been part of, I guess, Ryan Murphy's deal with Netflix, and they've been pretty great so far. He did Circus of Books, and I'm now blanking on what the 2021, but it was Dynamite. And now this one is Pray Away from director Christine Stolakis. And the film explores an ongoing practice within the evangelical church, this notion that homosexuality is a sin that can be cured if you are devout enough and if you pray hard enough, that God will you'll wake up straight one day. And it doesn't work, and it has been roundly denounced by medical and psychiatric professionals, but churches keep doing it. And so this documentary introduces you to several people who were involved in not just participating in those programs, but really promoting those programs over the years, like the founders of Exodus International, John Paulk, who he and his wife were going around to all the talk shows. They were on the cover of Newsweek. It's like, oh, we both used to be gay, and now look at us, we have a child, and we're so happy. And of course, none of them. It didn't work for any of them, and now they're able to sort of understand that about themselves and talk about it. And then we also meet an ex-trans guy who is still very much in this movement and puts together a thing every year called the Liberty March,
Freedom March,
the Freedom March, to sort of celebrate the idea of ex-gays. But most of the people in the film are ex-gays, and they have traveled that road and dealt with a lot of personal tragedy and come out on the other side of it, trying to create lives for themselves that aren't based on these lies that the church promulgated for so long. This is a tough documentary. I am married to an ex-evangelical, and he was just like furious and like engaged for the entire thing. But yeah, it's really informative, and I think for a lot of people who hear about these completely unregulated, unlicensed ministries where they send these kids off to these torture camps to try and like change their sexuality, like you get to see firsthand like what a horror show this is and how it's just completely ineffective, and it's a real abuse of the word of God, much less the people who are forced to submit to this kind of treatment.
Well, that's what's so fascinating about the woman, Julie Rogers, I want to say her name is, who grew up very devout, and she really wanted to be friends with Jesus, as she put it, and was brought up like super conservative Christian in Texas, I want to say, because the church she ended up going to, Living Hope Church, is in Arlington. And that's all she wanted was that kind of sense of community and approval. And so when she finally achieves a feeling of reconciliation with the church that has meant so much to her, it's very emotional. People who are religious, who are Christian, who want to have a place within the church, but have felt for so long that they have been shunned and that they are, wrong or dirty or whatever. So the eventual feeling of completeness that several of these people achieve is quite moving. The first guy we see, his story is so fascinating. This guy who is so vocal about praying with strangers in front of storefronts, and the guy who arranges this Freedom March. I mean, like, what do you think that's about? Is he just like, has he just talked himself into what they're...
His name is Jeffrey McCall.
Yeah. So what do you think that is about? And I like that they included him because it's a variety of experiences and perspectives here. Clearly we know what side they're all on, the filmmakers are all on, in terms of condemning this practice, but to include somebody who, and he's created a large group of very devout Christians who go and they march every year. It's a fascinating contradiction.
One of the things, go ahead, Alonso.
No, I was going to say that scene where the mother calls him about what to do about her trans child, and he just gives her the worst advice possible. It's heartbreaking because, he is the latest iteration of these people who are going around and spreading misinformation and guising their, I think, literal homophobia in his case. I think he is terrified of the person that he is. And that's why he's so like performative in his spirituality. It's that best little boy in the world syndrome. If you can rack up enough brownie points with God, then you're going to wake up healed one morning. It's heartbreaking because you're right. Most of the people in the film have gone through this and come out the other end of it, and he's still very much in it. And I hope that his eventual exit from this path is one that is safe and fulfilling for him.
I found this movie to be very, very powerful. And I think one of the tools that director Christine Stolakis brings to the table is that she almost got her PhD in cultural anthropology. And so what she's showing, because everyone that she talks to directly is or was a leader in this movement. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you get early on is Exodus was started by a few ministries that were started by gay people that started their own ministry to try and this is, to be clear, like this movement, yes, the church and this conservative mindset taught these folks that it was wrong to be gay, but the idea of praying it out of themselves, like that came, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous, like that came from them. Mm. And one of the things that is so seductive, and it's part of the tragedy, Julie Rogers, who's the young woman in this, talks about this a lot, about, she's the one who clarifies this, that she thought something was wrong with her, that she was having these gay feelings. And so when she met other people in this group, it was the first time that she didn't feel alone in that, because it was other, and that sense of belonging is insanely powerful, mm-hmm. right? And that's one of the things that the movie, that community, for someone who feels that they're at the edge of being kicked out at any moment, that's very seductive. And there's also a point at which at least the ones that are trying to pray the gay away from themselves, in a lot of cases, do kind of think they're doing the right thing. Now, granted, absolutely, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and this is a fucking super highway, because we know that the suicide rates with people that go through this is twice as high as the norm, according to the director who I had the luxury of interviewing this week.
Oh, cool.
But it's fascinating that all the people she talks to all were leaders in this community. And yes, they're, Eva Cantu Schneider was working for Focus on the Family, Family Research Council. And so, yes, there are definitely organizations that are capitalizing on this. Absolutely. But the tragedy at its core is that this is mostly run by people who think that they're in that same boat, right? And you get to see the meeting with some of these folks talk to the then current leaders of Exodus, that then they come out of it and the head of Exodus like, we're done. This is causing too much trouble. Now, people pick up that torch and keep going with it. And for Jeffrey McCall, the younger one who's still out there doing it, the movie's so good at making you if not forgive them, at least it got empathy out of me. And there's a side of me like, man, I hope he finds his way back. I hope he finds his way back. I mean,
I absolutely feel for this person. And I think the movie also kind of takes you on this interesting historical arc where it goes from being this is a program that exists for Christians who are struggling with their own same-sex attractions and trying to figure out a way through it. But then it evolves into this political thing where when gay civil rights start making advances, then people like the Family Research Council and like these powerful churches, like they start hiring these ex-gays because like,
it gets
we
hijacked.
can't say all this. Yeah, we can't say awful stuff about gay people and demonize them in the public forum, but you can because you're one of them. And then they get sent out to Fox News and to all these places to talk about, oh, the horrors of the gay lifestyle, and oh, we can't allow gay marriage or else it's going to lead to blah 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 blah. I'm also listening to right now. Y'all should check it out. Slate is doing a podcast called 1977, where they're looking at all these different sort of cultural phenomena that happened that year, and there's an entire episode devoted to Anita Bryant and the Dade County battle over an LGBT civil rights plank in the Dade County or in Miami's city charter. So yeah, but this is the same stuff, just like a decade or two later, where they keep trotting out the same old ridiculous, scare tactics about queer people, but now they have conflicted queer people as their mouthpieces to say it for them on national television.
I love how Eva Cantu says that they chose her to be one of the main spokespeople because she was not a white man. She is a Latina, and she didn't, quote unquote, look gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had skirts,
She wore makeup. She didn't look gay, whatever gay looks like.
I also found it. The one guy, Randy Thomas is his name, who was the former VP, and he shares this moment about, somebody gay coming up to him and saying, "How's it feel to have all that blood on your hands?" And he says to the camera, "Yeah, I do." And I found it very powerful. I found it somewhat hopeful. But yeah, like, man, don't tell your kids to pray away of being gay. Because one of the other things that the movie does is it talks about, all of these folks talk about, like, you're only addressing the actions. You're not, like, you're still having those feelings. Like, You're just not doing anything, which is worse.
Yeah. No, it's all horrifying. Alonso, do you know anybody who has gone through gay conversion therapy?
Yes, and it didn't work. It didn't take on any of the people I know who went through it. This is barbaric, and it's look, granted, I'm an atheist, so I don't have a ground to stand on here, but if you actually believe in the things that Jesus is said to have said, then you need to take a step back and rethink your position. If your translation of that is, yes, let's make people feel shitty about themselves and tell them that if their prayers to change something fundamental about themselves aren't working, it means that God doesn't like them enough.
I can actually quote you on what Jesus said about homosexuals and queer people. Want to hear it?
In toto.
That's it.
He said a lot about divorce and paying your taxes, though. Just going to throw that out there. By the way, the other Ryan Murphy film whose name I forgot, A Secret Love. If you didn't see that one, A Secret Love.
That's so good.
And
that's a good one.
Right?
Both really great. We might have, yeah. So that as much as I hated Hollywood and a lot of the other narrative stuff that Ryan Murphy's doing for Netflix, keep the queer documentaries coming because you are 3 for 3 now, sir.
Yes. What's your number, Alonso?
I give this an 8.
Okay, I'm saying 7.8.
I think I was lower than I should have been on this. What did I say?
You said 8.5.
Oh, no. Okay, that's good.
Okay, great. I don't know what that is number-wise, but anyway.
It's just, oh man.
I'm sorry. I usually
think it's an 8.
It's a 3.
I think it's an 8.1.
7.8 plus 8
1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1.
5 divided by 3 equals 8.1.
Okay, good.
Hooray, telephone calculator. I don't want to have to think. Anyway, so Pray Away is on Netflix now. It's been out for a few days. So
yes,
go check it out and get angry.
Indeed. Blow your mind. Thanks
angry,
for watching,
get
everybody.
shit done.
There you go. Thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our Patreon at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. A few hours left to take your votes for what our August off the menu choice will be, one of 6 movies that are some way or other related to beach movies. And of course, we're talking about the delightful Ted Lasso and recapping the episodes of season 2. So thanks for watching. Take care of yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye.